Sorry, I know I'm like already like kind of.
We're inside the actor's studio right now.
We're just gonna keep it all here.
Here you go. Clink, clink, bitch. You know what they say? You have to look each other in the eye.
I thought I did I not?
You have to hold it.
No.
This guy's afraid of commitment. You heard it here first. He didn't want to fucking. We're starting real. We're starting raw. No, I'm joking.
And this is my friend Cassy.
No, but like you clink, but then you take the shot while and it's very sexual energy. Like that's why they say if you don't look, you have bad sex for like what 7 years.
It's like, can I introduce you first?
This is a thing.
This is my friend Cassy. She just had a whole thing before the camera started saying that I say her name in a specific way. It goes, "Ayyyy, Cassy." And what'd you say?
True. When I ran into you in Paris one time, you go, "Ayyyy, Cassy!" like loud as hell across a courtyard. And I'm like, shh. I want every dude here to call me Cassandra. No, yeah, there you go. There's a very special way that a French guy says Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to speak French. Can you just do it?
It's probably Cassandra.
There's a little and I'm like,
and you want that.
Loosen up my bed. Anyway.
This is Cassy. She is a strepsils extraordinaire. If nobody knows what strepsils are, it's basically a brand of really intense throat lozenge that we all seem to need when we're in Europe, like backpacking.
Yes, exactly. And they don't make that shit as hardcore in the US. Strepsils is like medicated mixed with like a little bit of sugar.
Like
exactly.
Stuff.
Cut with some stuff. Wow. Well, I remember when we ran each other in Europe, it's like 3 years ago now.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it, but here we are. We both had sore throats like nobody's business. I had strepsil here when we meet up at night. I would be sucking on a strepsil.
No, you had the strepsil spray and you got me onto that because I always used to do the lozenges.
Look, I had the spray and I had the two here. Like, it was that bad. Like, that's what that
What was it though? Did you ever figure it out? Because it was like, you, Misako, me, we would always get the strep. Was it just like kissing too many people?
No. It was too many hard nights out, like back to back. And then you know what we would do? We wouldn't heal. Like we would just continue going out. Like strepsil on one cheek and then I was like, oh, whatever, like let's go out again. And then like the next night be like, okay, now I need to upgrade the strepsils. And we never allowed ourselves to regenerate.
If you haven't caught on, Cassy and I guess we've traveled in Vienna together, we've traveled in Prague together. You solo travel just as much as I do. Question number 1, have you ever like looked at your travels like and branded them solo travels? Cause
oh yeah.
I'll say this. I was on a phone call last week and my manager said like, yeah, Damon's a really heavy solo travel. And I was like, oh, that's right, I am solo traveling. Like right now even, I'm technically solo traveling, but I've never really considered it solo
You've
travel.
never used hashtag solo travel.
I was just like, let me just go traveling.
It is what it is.
If it's with people, that's great. If it's by myself, that's also great.
Oh yeah.
So what about you?
Ooh, I am Miss hashtag solo travel. Okay. No. But, what's it called? I do love solo travel, and anytime that I travel with my friends, low-key, I get like this pang of, man, I kind of have this FOMO already. Like, I'm really excited to be traveling with my friends, but at the same time, I'm like, man, well, if I meet somebody, I'm gonna have to like still hang with my friend and not go on this crazy adventure with them. Like, there's a little bit of like a FOMO when I do my normal like shit with people, but I do love solo travel. It's
just a matter of finding the right friends. Like, I feel like if we go out tonight after these few glasses, which, by the way, Cassy was making fun of me because the size of this is like, it's really big. It's really big. Let's talk about Prague and Vienna. Were there any like standout experiences that just come to mind right now? I don't know, it could be anything.
Boy, there are some experiences that I will not talk about, but I will say that they keep me up at night. Okay. Those moments when you're like, you know that TikTok, the famous one, they're like you make the face when you remember a vivid memory.
TikTok.
we'll start that over. No, no, like there are moments from Vienna. No, not Vienna. Vienna was chill. Vienna was, I was truly actually very sick. And I remember I even took a step back from hostel life. Like I was like, it's that serious. I need a hotel room. Like I think we were patient zero COVID in Vienna. Like that cough was mad serious, and I was like, heat. But yeah, and then we met up again in Prague. Like, and none of this was planned, by the way. It wasn't like, ooh, like you're gonna be there too. Like it was like, oh, bitch, you're in the proximity.
You're in the
like,
proximity.
The Prague
You're in the
proximity. Holy shit, what a trip that was. But Prague is just like, I don't know how to put this. It's like everybody goes there looking to have a crazy time.
Yeah.
And so like nothing's off the table. I would say even more so than like say a Berlin. Because Berlin, like, don't assault me in the comments for this, but like is a little uppity at times. Like with like, it's just like high level techno and like it's an art.
Yeah.
Prague is like, we're getting fucked up and we're at a cafe called James Dean.
Stop.
Which, low-key, if you're making your little fucking Prague
like,
to-do
put it on.
list.
Make sure it's number one.
But, yeah, no, I mean, in Prague, I'll say, like, honestly, nobody, like, stands out as, like, ooh, I keep in touch with.
No.
None of that. No. But experiences were had.
Do you have any cultures from the places you've been or, like, countries that you connect with more than others? Like, I know so she has a podcast called Globethotter, which I think is the perfect name.
Yes.
But I'll be honest, you know, whenever I book a trip with a friend, like a little bit of me misses that kind of openness you have to just being so free to do whatever in the moment. Yeah. You know, like you could meet someone and just like decide to go on some random adventure right there in that moment. Whereas with friends and whatnot, it's a little bit more planned. You're a little bit more stuck in your personality.
I mean, I talk about my dating and love life on this series called Dating with Damon. My stories from around the world. I have a story from Prague, actually. One might say that you really did know how to put the shade in shadow. Just as much as I put the hoe in ghosting. But you do the same thing on Globethotter where you're
weekly.
You need the stories.
Yes.
So when I'm traveling, I'm meeting lots of people, you're meeting lots of people, and I think we both have the same personality, like, well, someone's got to make this happen, and a lot of times it's not the other person, so let me approach them. Are there countries or cultures that where it tends to be easy for you to just get along with the people there, you feel like you're just vibing out, things are happening for you?
Ooh, honestly, this is a weird answer, but like, there's that energy of just like, I got on a plane, I've left the US border, and I'm just aglow with that energy. You know what I mean? But also sometimes like, you've been with me when like, I'm like fully myself, and I'm like, oh, this isn't hitting.
It's not working.
And you just can't take that personally. I'm like, oh, they've been through some shit. Like if you look at maybe a country's history and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they're like more introverted because of XYZ reason. And I'm like, mad extroverted if you can't tell, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say like, give me the Mediterranean areas, like pop me over in France. No, actually, take that back.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Spain.
Okay, there it is.
There we go. You know, so easy to confuse the two. Not at all. But you're like, I hate that Damon's interjecting and is like, no, they don't feel you in France. Like he was like, I've seen it.
No, because I have my good moments in France, but I feel like the same thing that happens to me sometimes in France might have happened to you, where I think I mentioned this in the video we made together in Prague 3 years ago. Do you remember? 3 years ago.
Yes, bitch, bookmarked.
I said, going up to somebody in the club, in many other countries like Spain, they might appreciate it more, they're more extroverted, but in France, my experience in Paris was that they kind of looked at me like, why are you so desperate for leaving your friend group with whom you're at the club to go talk to somebody that you don't know? Like, are you that desperate for love? You know what? I tried the 2-finger call over move in Paris. Each person denied me. Because in the States, you know, it's looked at as like, oh, you're confident enough in yourself to do something out of the ordinary. There, it was just like, you're so desperate that you're going out of the ordinary. And I was like, wow, like, okay.
Okay, I didn't know I was on Flavor of Love. Like, I just thought I was being ambitious.
Flavor of Love.
You know what? As you tell this, like, I'm remembering an anecdote of, like, us in Paris. I think we were hanging with our friends, and then they were like, I want to go home. We're like, we want to go to the club. And it wasn't even a club. It was just like a tiny little bar. And I was doing my dance. And I was dancing, and then this guy, like, I think, like, literally made a face that I was, like, in his area. And I was like, this is so French. Like, whereas, like, in LA, like, we were saying, like, you could just start a dance circle. Like, go up to a random group and, like, and all you gotta do is drop an A. Like, a well-timed A.
It's
and,
so
like,
true.
Everybody's like, yeah, they're feeling what I'm doing. Like, let's do this.
Yep.
But, like, you drop that same A.
They're like, know what you're doing here.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So I would definitely say it is in, like, the south of Europe. I'm really excited to go to Latin America where I know I'm a pop-off. That's just my roots. Like, let's go.
Wait, I thought you were going to tell some story about Paris real quick at Cafe Oz on Grand
Oh, excuse me. Okay, the one time I was being felt very real in France.
Like, quite literally?
Quite literally. This is so funny. Cafe Oz.
Cafe Oz, first of all you gotta say is it's an Australian bar, period. So, you know, it's like, it's very international, it's very tourist, they have the top 40 playing, the drinks are like the biggest margarita jugs.
It's an Australian / like giving Irish pub vibes. Like, it combines the two kind of vibes that are just like going for it. You know what I'm saying?
There is an Irish pub across the street. So maybe that's why we had that vibe.
This was, I think, kind of low-key, like that same, like, crazy heat wave in Paris that we were all there for. And nobody else, like, everybody, it was like 100 degrees. And nobody wanted to go to the club, except, like, you and I would look at each other. And there would be this, like, without words agreement of, like, you want to go? And I want to go. And also, I will say that nonverbal agreement extended to, like, we have the same type.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to tell the story, because...
So, okay, Cafe Oz. We were there with Misako, and I remember, how did this even go? Like, 29-year-old brain, fuzzy, wuzzy. I remember we were ordering drinks.
Yes.
Like kamikazes, probably blue shits. Like, you wouldn't even think that they serve this in Paris. Like, it's against the law. But we were ordering our shots, and there were some dudes. And you know us. We say hi.
They're there, you're there, hi.
Yes, that is my same logic that applies with if you're traveling with a friend and there's two of you and there's two of them. Like, honestly,
hello,
fate, right? Like, that's as much as I need from. I'm like, universe, I see you. There's two of them, there's two of me. Like, let's go say hi. And when you're drunk or when you're on a level like you are, like, yeah, like, truly, wow, the stars have aligned.
And I'm here tonight in Paris, and so are you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Everything led up to this moment. So we were getting on the dance floor, these cutie McDuties. This is your vocab.
She knows which channel she's on.
Exactly. I know what bread I'm getting fed. Like, I don't even know what that phrase means. One glass in. But yeah, okay, this is fuzzy, so please help me.
Well, no, I mean, the whole point was just like, there were these...
You're like, you don't get too detailed. Know that we just wanted the same dude. And I got him. So
no, I thought the funniest part of the whole story was that this was a dude. He was a firefighter.
Yeah.
He goes by the name of Arnaud, so you can already see the type.
French firefighter, buzz cut, built, beautiful face. It's always I don't know what it is about French firefighters. I think it's like a prerequisite of the job to be freaking like handsome. You know what? I didn't want to interject, but I was like, he looked like you. Like, you have your type, and it's you. Like, nah. He did not look like me. He was taller. He was blonde. He was blue-eyed. That's not my type. It was that night? It was that night, because there was some competition. Hey! Seriously, though? Like, I remember, I don't know how me and Arnaud got alone together, but we were sitting outside, and I knew it was a competition at this point. Like, we were on The Bachelor. And you were about to come over and you were about to say, can I have a minute of your time? Like, what do they always say in The Bachelor? They just like run up in the private date and they're like, can I steal him for a sec? I knew it was coming.
Stop.
Damon was looking at me with his kamikaze from the bar like, you're just waiting till I pay. I'm coming over. And so what I remember doing was I just was like, I think I just said like, do you want to kiss me? This is what you just say, baby. Angry sip. Angry sip.
Well, it's surprising because
Yeah, go on.
he didn't speak English and you don't speak French, so the whole night.
I think I did though.
You said bisous, bisous.
I didn't even know that much French. I was just like,
Well, you're missing a key part of the story. The reason that I fell in love with him is because I was the translator for these two. And
this is
so
the worst.
I thought that Arnaud was trying to like, give me some hidden messages.
You know what? Now it's coming back to me. Misako, I remember, she told me, she said, bitch, he's not translating what you think he's translating. Like, okay, so Damon ran up and was like, I'll help you with this conversation. And I was like, tell him I said this. And Misako was like, bitch, you ain't telling him that. He's not telling him that. And now it all makes sense. Wow, but you couldn't get away in love.
Well, guess who lives in Paris? Me and him.
You know what? Long game. You know who's playing the long game? Damon Dominique.
This is what I love about travel. I love about my YouTube channel. I love about you started this thing called Globethotter because I feel like so many people kind of like leave these stories out thinking like they shouldn't talk about them because it might be morally wrong. But yeah, it's like, but I think you want to do that. I think you want that story. And why wouldn't you want to share this story? It was fun and there was no harm involved.
Exactly. Honestly, when I transitioned from just like my inner circle knowing I'm a travel hoe to the world now potentially knowing I'm a travel hoe, like if you Google me and you see my podcast, you're like, oh, she's about that life, you know? And there was a part of me that I think like maybe like an episode or two in was like, oh my God, like what will people think? And I'm like, yo, the whole point of Globethotter and this pod is like, let's normalize these conversations because somebody has to fucking do it. And it makes us all so happy. Like when people come on the pod and like share their stories, like they're glowing.
These
we're
are like the
in
best
lockdown.
best stories of their lives.
We're in lockdown and they're literally glowing, remembering Francois. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, this is what it is all about. And let's not hide that fact.
I think it's that, and then also when you look at the stories you're telling your closest friends, it's like, well, these are my closest friends, the people that I like fuck with. Why wouldn't I want to tell other people that I could potentially fuck with, like both literally and metaphorically? Like, why wouldn't you? I had that same thing with when I started this YouTube channel. I was just kind of like, well, if I meet someone on the street and I'm on my way to a date, like, why wouldn't I tell them that? Why wouldn't I tell them on my channel? I would be telling them in person.
Exactly.
So. It was almost like I had this border up that everyone had told me to have the border up. Don't share your private life. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, why not?
Yeah. I first had this experience with writing for your fucking website.
Yeah.
Shut Up and Go. And I put out there some experiences that I had on the blog and people really resonated with them. And I also had the realization that exactly what you're saying. If somebody on the street asked me to tell them the story, I would just tell them, and I would tell them because I wanted them to feel like you can. Yeah. Like there's no shame in this. Fucking tell it. Enjoy it. Go for it.
Yeah, I remember reading your articles and I was like, this is exactly what I imagined for this whole thing. And also when you're reading something like that, you're kind of like, that's what I want. That's the life that I want. So why don't I share this?
Put it on a mood board. Put it on your vision board and claim it for yourself. We all deserve a hottie international boyfriend, cutie.
Have you ever gone for a shy guy?
Yeah. I date shy guys. Let's talk about that. I'm fucking like intense energy. I'm like, ooh, pandemic tipsy. No, I do like shy guys because if I'm talking like long-term serious, I'm back in the States, like shy guys really are the yin to my yang. You know what I mean? Like they support me. They have to be down with like obviously me being like outgoing as hell, super feminist, and like the right kind of guy will really appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I will say when traveling though, you don't have much time, so shy guys don't get much play. You know what I mean? A shy guy is a slow burn.
So right. It's kind of like maybe you're unlocking something right here for me even, because I always feel like when I travel, I'm so confident. And it's kind of like, because you don't have time to just kind of play some games or like, can they even wait?
Yeah. And if it goes bad, you can leave the country, which I have. I literally have. I'm like, I just want to get this whole country out of my palate.
Like, I feel like you, more than other people, you could enter in any group and somehow like smooth your way in there. Or like to flirt with somebody.
My way in.
Or just to flirt with like any random person. Like you could do it, you could take in the surroundings, like, and like approach. And like it would work out.
It does.
Okay, great. Like, do you, like, what's the
secret equation, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I remember when I was volunteering in a hostel in Portugal, I was staying in a room with these Australian chicks, and they just straight up asked me one morning, they were like, girl, you pull. And I was like, what does that mean?
What?
And they're like, no, like, you pull dudes. Like, you just, like, you're so, like, you got it.
Yeah.
And they were non-believers. They were haters. I'll just say that. They looked at me and they were like, you pull. Like, what's up with that? And I was like, I don't have to explain it. Like, it is c'est quoi? No? No, I think it's just, like, honestly, like, a sixth sense. I'm a very big people person. Like, you talk about, like, purposes in life. And I think they change a lot. But community is always at the core.
Got it. Do you
and
ever
that
feel like
extends to flirting.
Do you ever feel like it's like fake it till you make it? Because I feel like it's to some extent you could play that card. Because confidence, like, I feel like everyone wants to feel comfortable in a space, so there's always got to be one person, whether you genuinely feel it or not, that has to kind of take control and make everyone feel comfortable.
Ah, yeah. I wouldn't necessarily call it fake it till you make it.
Maybe it's not that.
It's more so just this, like, and I will not say it's always a positive, but I want everybody to be having a good time.
Yeah.
I want everybody to be having fun. Like, maybe it's the Taurus in me. Like, I take it on as my personal responsibility. Like, this is why I'm bad at, like, hosting. Like say, anytime I've, like, tried to host a little function at my house, and I feel this pressure. Like, is everybody having fun? Like, and I take that on. But in social situations, like, say, like, it's you and me at a bar, a club, like, and one-on-one with someone new, that's easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, this is a golden rule, you guys. Like, I remember I got this advice from a friend of mine when I was about to start solo traveling for the first time. He says, just ask people where they're from. That's it.
Good.
That is it. And then it'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. It really does. You know, just ask someone where they're from. Be genuinely interested. You know?
Yeah.
And then just kind of take it from there. And also, like, know that for the most part, everybody wants to talk to. Like, it's 9 times out of 10. You have your 1 out of 10 where you're like, oh, you're just genuinely like a dick. But 9 times out of 10, people are waiting for you to, how do you say, initiate. You know, and that can be flirty or that can just be friendly.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, I recognize when someone's shy, when someone's to themselves, because I'm, like we talked about before, like, I've been there.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. I guess when I was working in hostels too, it was super prevalent because I was like, I'm in a position of not necessarily power, but, like, I know what's what in this place. And, like, I can extend that to you and make you feel comfy and, like, nothing better.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because today I posted a video about Paris, Texas, and I'm trying to think, like, everyone I talked to, the first question I asked was exactly that. Where are you from?
Yeah.
Then the second follow-up question is, what do you like about it here? And by that point, you're already in the conversation.
Positive and a positive.
Like, what do you
easy.
like? What keeps you here? Like, why do you live here? And then they start talking, then you have another follow-up question. That's how you get in. You're so right.
Yeah, totally. And you want to get, like, therapy with it. Like, you starting with a positive question, like, ask somebody to meet you there and, like, their highest self. Their most positive, like, you're asking them, like, a question that's, like, real deep of, like, what do you love about the place? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, what
not
are you
like,
doing
how
here?
are you feeling? Whatever. It's like, what do you love about this? Tell me. You know?
That's so smart. Yeah, get them excited about something.
Yeah.
A city or...
You've experienced this when you've gone to cities and like say you meet up with folks and you're like, show me. And people literally show you what they love about a place. And they're like offering it up they're offering it up like a dish. Like, I love this and I want you to love it too.
Stop, I'm like already getting excited. I want to go do it.
Yeah. I mean, you've lived it, so.
So have you. Again,
Hey.
why we get along. Hey!
Hey! A well-placed A.
Wait, do you have any tips for people who would like to be more outgoing or confident? Like, were you this person in high school?
Oof.
What changed it for you? What advice do you have?
Wow. I feel like this question's pointed. Like, he went through my Facebook tag photos and was like, he knew I was a big old dork in high school now. Okay, were you a dork too?
No.
He was cool?
Stop!
This guy was cool in high school?
I was like, I had a great high school experience. I had a huge group of friends. Sorry, I know it's not relatable. It's not relatable. I had a great high school experience. Yeah. Okay, sorry, you go.
No, I did too. I honestly really did. And like the friends I made in high school, let me just say, I'm still fucking friends with. No, I'm joking. But like truly, I mean, you take it back. Like I was a completely different person then.
Okay.
And any of my friends from then will tell you that. And it had nothing to do with other people. It's always internal, right? Like I definitely was dealing with a lot of shit and just kind of wheeling and dealing with one being just a fucking human. You know, like I remember even just being not confident in my own body. Like say in high school, like going to the bathroom and like this was different. Like this was, you know, pre-social media. Like I remember just like going to the bathroom, looking in the mirror and being like, okay, that's good. Like, good job, Cass. Like, leave. But like now it's like, you know, as you become a woman, you know, like, okay, like let me walk this way and like the curve of my waist, whatever. Like you grow into your body and you work it. Mm-hmm. But seriously, I will say, like, it almost felt like, I mean, you're a young kid, it's normal, but like, I felt like an asexual person. Like, I was just like living, and I was living through my Sims. Speaking of, and I'm just kidding.
Were you very straight edge in high school? I was.
Oh my god, yeah, I was a narc, if that. Like, I was like, oh my god, they're drinking.
Yeah, I would want to go home. I would like not.
Yeah, I was very uncomfortable. Like, this is a story from prom. I remember I went with a friend, and afterward it was like, okay, everybody's having the after party at such and such place, and we were driving my car, and I remember just getting more and more anxiety as we were driving towards this destination, and telling my homie, which is my best friend to this day, I was like, is it okay if we don't go? And she's like, of course. Like, no judgment from her end, but I just couldn't go. The social anxiety was through the roof. And it's so funny, like, looking at who I am today and, like, someone who's volunteered in hostels and, like, led fucking pub crawls and made that person, and I recognize that person in the crowd, and making them feel like you are welcome here because you recognize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see.
Wow. But,
so what changed it for you then? Was it just, like, how did you go from that person to being the leader of the pub crawl?
Yeah, totally. I think it was distance from the character that was just assigned to me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel very much in, like, your town, like, you are who you are, and it's, like, glue.
Yeah.
You know? And then I went away. I remember I went to Boston for college for a year. I didn't like it, actually, but it was very transformative in the sense, like, at least I was away. You know? And then I did a summer in Los Angeles. I did like this internship program, and I remember I went to my first rave.
In LA?
In LA. I went to EDC, booze.
Really?
Like, I'm aging myself here. And I was 19, all but 19. And just feeling like so much more comfortable in my skin, and like, I remember also as well, like I kind of lost some baby fat, and I was like, okay, this is your body, like, and look at it work. You know what I mean? Look at it be healthy, and you know what I mean? Like, just I felt kind of weighed down in high school in like many senses, and just like bogged down. And then I went and like freed myself, and was like meeting new friends and all these sorts of things, and I was like, this is who you are. Like, embrace it. Right. And since then, I've just been riding that wave. Yeah. It's weird. Like, I used to be, like, bigger, and I felt like I was being treated differently by people that, like, I met later when I was, like, I guess, thinner. And that's a very weird mindfuckery feeling.
I see.
I feel like, oh, you're treating me different.
And it's like,
and
why?
I'm the same, but the only thing different about me is my body. And like
Yeah, it makes no
that
sense.
at 22 was like, oh, okay, so I need to be this size.
Yeah.
For you to be nice to me.
To be recognized by you
Right.
in like a good light, which again, it's like, I haven't changed. It's just my physical being, and like, is that all that matters?
Right, but then, you know, you peel that back a little bit more, and your higher self is like, well, you're more confident in yourself too. And that is contagious. So it's like, okay, your lower self is like, oh, you only like me in this size? But then your higher self is like, no, girl, like, you like yourself more too in multiple ways, and you should have still loved yourself in that way as well. But like, people pick up on the vibe you're putting down.
Yeah, that's really interesting, especially when you look at certain cultures where maybe being bigger is the more like epitome of beauty. In other cultures.
Like, I remember when I was in Boston, I got called thick for the first time, and I low-key asked my friend like right after it happened, I was like, is that bad? Like, I'd never heard the word thick. Again, I'm aging myself. This was like...
Yeah, you're like, good, bad. What's that adjective over here?
Truly, I pulled my friend to the side and I was like, he just called me thick, like... And she's like, literally, my friend Carla, she goes, that's good, girl. Really good. And I was like... And truly, it took me, like, everything served its purpose. I didn't even go to that school for more than a year and a half because it wasn't the right fit. But the people I met while I was there, friends to this day, and really, like, took me to the next level. Like, they were like, okay, girl, you're Latina and you don't know how to salsa, you don't know bachata, let's fucking go. Like, and I finally met other girls that had my body, that even had my curl pattern. And I was like, okay.
You're like, okay, I've seen how this could work in my benefit.
Exactly.
Okay, I just remembered this one thing that I wanted to say, which was when you were in high school, you felt like maybe you didn't fit in, or I don't know, something like that. And the thing that I thought in my mind was, I read this book, it was probably Eckhart Tolle. Have you read Eckhart Tolle?
A little bit. He's a little over my head, but
It takes like 4 dense reads. It takes time. But there was a quote, I don't know if it was him, but somebody said, like, there is not a room on earth that you don't belong in. And that, like, unlocked something for me. I was like, even walking into somewhere where maybe I don't feel uncomfortable, we shouldn't feel uncomfortable anywhere, no matter how anybody's treating us, because we all have access to the same amount of earth. So how can it be that this room is different than that room over there, or that, you know? It's like, you don't get to decide that for me.
Right. I mean, honestly, it's all an internal experience.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into a situation and you don't feel comfortable. Okay. Like, 9 times out of 10, like, it's low-key, half of that is imagined, right? And you're like, okay, well, this is the story that's going on in my head, and I believe that I don't belong here because of X, Y, Z. But there is someone that I follow on social media, Cam Kashani, and she coined this phrase called unfuckeablewith, which, you know, honestly, if you just break it down, it's like just being so rooted, like a fucking sequoia tree. Oof. Like, anything that comes your way, anybody that projects onto you, says a should, pushes you to, you know, live the way that they do, and you just stand rooted. Like, you are literally unfuckable with, you know what I mean? And what does that take? Loving yourself.
True, you gotta, like, believe.
In all parts. And there are days, and I think when you really ask yourself, you're like, do I fully accept every single part of me? Or just, like, the nice parts? You have to truly love yourself, because, and then if someone says some shit to you, you're like, well, that's just blatantly untrue. Or, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
your opinion is your opinion and doesn't affect my reality. It doesn't have to affect my reality.
Right, and that is the equivalent to, like, do you accept and love you?
Do you fuck with yourself?
As a human!
Yeah. Are you unfuckable to your own self?
Right, as a 29-year-old, we're in our Saturn return, baby. I'm like, do you love you? That is the
Saturn
relationship.
return?
Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh, just like you got an extra 10 minutes for this?
So, Saturn return is something that kind of like, okay, don't butcher me, but it kind of like kicks in around like 27 to like 30-ish.
Okay.
And it's an astrological thing, but in general, like, how many people have their coming of age in this moment where they like kind of feel for the first time that they're the ones driving their life, instead of, you know, just feeling like, oh, I'm just kind of in the like I'm in the passenger seat.
You mean like be at college or high school or
like
getting
things
your first
keep
job?
happening to me. Finally, you feel like, no, things are happening for me, and I'm leading myself to them.
True.
Like, you've noticed this, right?
That's and it's been like the past 2 years, I feel like, no, it's you that decide. It's not how everything's happening to you.
Exactly. You know, you want to
I
take
like
this. You want to take this on like the travel angle. Like I was 15 the first time I went to Europe, and I remember I did like an American ambassador program, whatever.
Rotary?
And people to people. There were so many. They were just jipping us, man, taking our money left and right.
True.
But what I remember about that trip, honestly, is how I felt, which was I want to fit in. I want to fit in so bad. You know, with this big group of people, like all I'm interested in right now is, oh, okay, that's pretty. I took pictures on my digital camera. But what I'm interested most in is what is my standing within this group? Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, I mean, I'll just say it, like, I was bullied, like, throughout high school. And, like, there's a part of me to this day that, like, if I'm kind of being treated like an outsider by people, like, I'll, like, stiffen. Like, that's, like, some, like, trauma that resides, you know? And I remember on that trip being bullied here and there, and that was what I was most concerned with. Like, here I am, like, we even got to stay in, like, a nunnery in Italy. Like, we got to do, like, such cool things, but what I remember about those moments is, like, what do they think of me? You know what I mean?
That's where your mind was.
Exactly.
And
like,
sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I'm here in this really cool place.
Yeah, and, like, take me back, dude. Like, 29, like, that's when people say, like, you've got...
29?
You know, like, people ask you, like, oh, do you wish you could do it again? Like, do you want to go back to, like, what, 18, 21? Like, this is stupid tomfoolery questions that, like, people ask you and you're just like, no.
Yeah, like, no, I'm good.
No.
I'm good.
Mr. Popular here, though. No.
I had a really good high school experience, pretty good college experience, but I feel like we're all, once you hit this age frame, this age range, you're kind of just like, I still feel better now. Like, I don't want to go back, whether I had a good or bad past. Like, I'm good where I am now.
I saw a tweet today that was like, 30s is your 20s with money. And someone said, and I look better now. And I was like, yo.
Yeah. But don't you feel like even now that we might have more money, still, even when I get a paycheck from YouTube, I'm like, yeah, but I was literally doing this with no money. And it just kind of makes me think, of course, having money better than not having money. But it never got in the way like some people let it, I think.
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, like, it only takes so much to be happy. Like, there's literally statistics about this. Like, after a certain amount of money, your happiness will not increase.
Well, this is where my mind goes. I'm like, okay, the most...
We're in therapy right now.
This is how it goes on Red Wine Talks. Halfway through the bottle, that's
therapy and alcohol. Like, I don't know.
Best combination.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, the most formative experiences in my life were when I was going from country to country in the hostels. Those hostels, it's like $10 a night, okay? That's when my life was lit. And it's lit now in a different way. But I'm like, it's not lit now because I have money. It's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I found people that I vibe with.
You did the work when you were younger to find those people, too.
And they were all through the hostels. So it's like, I can thank the $10 hostel a night.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about hostels versus hotels, and like, I mean, even coming of age, I think this is a topic. Like, coming of age, and you feel like, I mean, most of the people in these age range in the hostels are young as hell. Yeah. And like, I mean, I remember even traveling in hostels when I was like 26, 27. Last time, pre-COVID.
Right, yeah, last time.
And I was getting called a cougar.
Oh, shit.
Can we just have a moment?
You're like, excuse me? Like,
yeah,
I
can only even imagine now, like 29 years old if you want to go, whatever. But that's the thing, like, okay, imagine yourself in a fancy hotel. Lovely, amazing. Like, I love that interspersed. Get me in the tub. Like, let's throw some salts in there. You know what I mean? But, and then what?
Right, it's like, but I want to be over there.
I want to make new friends. I've been in hotels, gone to the lobby, and nobody be talking to each other.
It's a different thing. You're right, like the bubble bath can only get you so clean.
I want to go turn up.
I feel it. Do you ever have any pushback from people who were like, maybe what you talk about or what you stand for is like, I don't know, immoral or something?
Ooh, well, on the stance of hostels, I definitely have people in my circle that are like, that is not for me. Like, strong, hard pass, no. And, you know, like, in the past, like, I felt like kind of, like, weird need to, like, low-key defend, like, no, but it's good and this and that. But, like, I think also that's a part of growing up, too, is like, okay, I'm not going to defend this anymore. If you want this information, I'm here to share it, but I'm also not going to, like, defend myself to you.
Yeah, I think that was also part of coming into who you are. You're just kind of like, you really know what you believe in when you don't feel the need to defend it anymore.
You're like, cool, like, you have your opinion, I have mine, and everybody travels different. Like, low-key, like, the feeling and the high I get of, like, I just love communal living. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think, let's take it back. Like, that's where we thrive as humans. Like, let's share. Let's be in spaces where we care for one another. And, like, I know some people are just like, hostels are dirty and this. But I'm like, okay, but we're all sharing a space. And, like, let's clean up our dishes for each other. And, like, let's hang out and, like, play a game. And let's go out together.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a hostel. It could be co-living. It could be the retirement home. Like, whenever we're 70, like... It's kind of the same concept.
We're about to be king and queen in the retirement home.
Stop!
Can we have a pub crawl in our walkers? I'll see you in Florida.
Alright, the last question I think I have for you, I've been trying to find a way to bring it up and I don't know how. You had this concept about social media and I always appreciated it because I feel the same way about social media. There's just this thing that goes around that's just like everyone's just trying to impress other people in a way and it just feels, especially Los Angeles I guess in some ways, it feels very... Dontcha wish your girlfriend was hot like me. Like, everyone's just trying to look good.
There's no logic to it. There's no logic to why.
Just please explain what it is. Like, you didn't even have to explain it. I was just kind of like, I think I know what you mean.
Okay, so background here. I remember I was on a balcony. This was during a 6-month solo adventure. I was in Barcelona at the time. And I was just catching up with you via WhatsApp. You know what's what?
That European app.
And you were just checking in, you're like, how are you doing? How are you thriving? And I said to him, and I was like, right now, like, when I look at, people I follow on Instagram, like, I'm barely updating right now, only because, one, I don't have service. And secondly, like, I'm just, like, so involved right now. Like, I'm in it, knee deep, like, eat, pray, love, you name it. And when I was looking at, folks that I was following back at home, like, I said to you in a voice note that I was like, their stories feel like the equivalent of, don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? And what I mean by that is that, like, exactly like you said, like, there was this need to, like, I'm going to show you what I'm up to, and you need to see it. And it's not coming from a place of, like, I want to share. It's coming from a place of, like, how do I say?
Like, I want you to know that I'm up to cool shit? Is that what it is?
And that's a part of it. And I'm not saying this from a hater perspective, because when I am back in the States or I'm not in travel mode, like, that's me.
You're like I know, I recognize it.
I recognize it because I am it in situations. Like,
I think everyone has that.
Given the chance, we all kind of go for... Well, I don't want to say we all, but, like, it's very tempting to go for the very manicured, doesn't it all look easy kind of way. Like, it is what it is,
When you're having those moments that are over, it doesn't have to be Europe. I keep saying Europe. It's just because that's where my experiences have been.
Yeah.
When you're outside of your own country and you're having these, like, life-changing experiences where you feel like you're alive, like, you're seeing that sunset at 6 a.m. or what? It's sunrise at 6 a.m. You're waking up for it, and you're, like, out at the club drunk with a new person.
I think I was sunrising.
But, hey, you're having those moments that are like, this is what life's about. And then you, like, just, I don't know, something tells you to log on to Instagram, and you're like, that?
Yeah.
Like, this is what's on my feed?
Yeah, with distance, I think it becomes more and more clear. When you're in it, like, that's why I say stateside, like, I mean, look at my story right now. Probably same shit, you know what I mean? But it's very seductive. It's very tempting to catch yourself in these patterns. And then I think just with distance, say, like, maybe it's actually just a logistical thing. You don't have service most of the time, so you're not sharing as much. And then you pop in. Maybe you've had a cleanse of social media for, like, the past 2 weeks. And it does feel, like, foreign. And you're like, this is interesting. But just with everything else, like with repetition, with maybe checking all the time, like, oh, this feels normal again, to put a filter on my actual face, you know?
Maybe we see the like behind the scenes because we've both been invited to those events, and you get there and the line of everyone who's invited
yeah,
is
there's a
line.
there's a step and repeat, but like what else?
But like the line, everyone is invited, and then you have the line outside, and that is the line of everyone who is invited. So it's almost like the line of people invited is actually just the regular line.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of like see again. You're like having this experience in Thailand. You're like, oh, this is the meaning of life. I think I got it. And then you see that, and you're like, that's not it. Like that's not what it is.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, you're like, that's, I can see how phony that might feel or be. But again, it's not like we can all be traveling 24/7, so you do what you can in the city you're in.
Right. Yeah,
But
I think it truly is
you
like
learn something.
Yeah, like truly like with distance from like the life you're living, the patterns you were living, the flows. And with distance, you're like, oh, okay, like, I see how I was behaving, and I see how people in my circle are still kind of, like, functioning. And now that I've stepped away and kind of see, like, oh, okay, work isn't exactly purpose. And, like, these are just things that you need to deconstruct. Like,
yeah.
I remember my first solo trip, I had just been laid off. And up until that point, I was Little Miss climbing the social ladder. Like, that was my thing. I was very happy to have a seat at the table, and I equated that with purpose. And then all of a sudden, I'm taken to a little room, and I'm told that, here's a check.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. And that kick-started, like, a month-long trip in Europe. And I finally got to see, like, oh, it isn't always like this. Like, I'm in Italy right now, and, like, work isn't life. And there are fucking naps, and there's golden hours.
She
and
said naps.
There are naps. Can we
Naps.
just bring back the nap?
Like naps and golden hours, and that's what life's about. Yeah, and then like the longer I think you stay where you feel comfortable, maybe in the States or wherever, you just kind of get kind of lost. You start to forget what that feeling feels like abroad, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, I come back, and then this is why it's so seductive. Like, it creeps back in. You know, the little
inching in.
Yeah, the little graphics on social media, or maybe, you know, this is very predominant in the US, like the salary you get, it's not enough. I could always be doing better. It's just never enough, you know? And that's what I think is always the don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? It's never enough. And who at the end of the day are you performing for? You know what I mean?
It's like an illusion, and you're kind of trapped in it, and then when you're out of it, you're like, oh. And
who are you doing
like
this choreography for?
Who are you doing that choreography? Nicole Scherzer here, let us know.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me?
That's so what it is. This has been Red Wine Talks with Cassy Martinez of Globethotter and all the other things.
Thank you so much. This has been a spiel. We've really gotten into it.
Yeah. All right, well, follow us on all the social medias if you'd like to. That's that.
And that is that on that. Let's keep drinking.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna finish that. I was gonna have another one. I don't know about you.
I mean, I'm down. I just have to start having water between 29. Remember?
I should probably follow. All right.
He's 29 too, right?
I'm gonna be. So you're turning 30 in like a month too, but
we didn't have to say the 30 word.
See, should this be in a whole other category?
Take it back now, y'all.
I'm turning 30 this year also. All right.
No, it's an honor and a privilege to turn 30.
Do you really feel that, or are you just saying that?
No, I really mean it. I really mean it.
Okay.
I really mean it. It's how many people do not get to turn 30? Think about it like that. It is an honor and a privilege to age.
I know, but we would like the people in the hostels to not maybe mention it.
What I would like is more acceptance of the 30. Like, don't projectile vomit onto me, like, your thoughts on being 30. Like, I'm sorry you're uncomfortable with it. I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I mean, like, hostel people.
No, I know. We're good.
We're good.
Like, I'm thinking this is a duo thing. Like, we good.
We're gonna go start fights in hostels.
All right, thank y'all for watching. Follow Cassy. All the links are in the description box below. Follow this channel. All that. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? All that stuff. And see you next time.
Bye.
Later. Wait, can you get back in position?
I will also say, Damon showed up to my Airbnb with this thing and goes, I don't open them. Like, and he goes, hands it to me and is like, I just show up, basically.
Then I went like this.
Yeah, he sat on a stool in the corner of the kitchen and was like, you know what you're doing, right? I want executive producer credits.
I'm gonna
for
put
this.
all your links, don't worry.
Nah,
don't worry.
nah. In exchange for the clout, I'm gonna open up anyone but what?
Okay,
We
wait.
have to talk about your traditions, though.
Alright, tell them about my traditions.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys, before we even set up, I was getting real comfy on this nice, in my Airbnb side of the sofa. And you know what Damon says? He goes, so we have this tradition on this show. I'm traditionally on the left side. I'm like, that's not a tradition, Damon. That is a preference.
That's like my
and it's
good
fine, but that's not a preference.
There was something I really wanted to say and I forget what it was.
29.
Wait. Yes, Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Fuzzy Wuzzy.
High school. Go be, yeah, let me think about this. Fuck.
Gosh,
it's such a-
29. Like, it just like, is like, you know. Which one? Oh, also, like, please exec produce my eyeliner. Like, if it's ever getting, like, smudgy, it's a new eyeliner. Like, you can tell me. You can tell me that look says it's smudgy.
it looks fine.
That look says it's smudgy.
I didn't even notice anything.
Well, maybe I should take a pee break. We're 29 now. Yo, tell me what left you the door open, like, mad.
Stop. Okay, go, I'm turning this off.